Behind the anthems that define generations stands a quiet visionary, a composer, a producer, and a spiritual thinker. That man is the creative force behind Kool and the Gang, one of the most successful and enduring groups in music history. While the band's sound evolved from raw funk to polished pop soul, it was this man's songwriting genius and musical direction that kept the machine moving. Yet, behind the party anthems was a deeper layer that was spiritually disciplined and a belief that the music was more than entertainment. It was a connection. This is a story of the man who turned grooves into global moments and who helped the world find reasons to celebrate. The centerpiece of today's video is all about Ronald Bell. Now before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell to be sure you won't miss out on any more uploads. Now without further ado, let's cue that intro. Born on November 1st, 1951 in Youngstown, Ohio, his father was a professional boxer and a Golden Gloves amateur boxing winner. Bell grew up in a musical household. His father exposed him early to rhythm and discipline. He trained in Elwood, New York, where he met jazz musicians and became friends with Miles Davis and the Loneliest Monk, who they all lived in the same apartment building. Ronald and his brother, Robert Kool Bell, was introduced to jazz at the age of 5 or 6. The family relocated to Jersey City, New Jersey in 1960. In 1964, the brothers they collaborated with neighborhood friends Spike Mickens, Dennis Thomas, Ricky Westfield, George Brown, and Charles Smith to develop a unique musical combination of jazz, soul, and funk. They began to call themselves the Jazzy Acts, and they also went by numerous of other names, including the New Dimensions, the Soul Town Band, and Kool and the Flames, before they decided to settle on Kool and the Gang in 1968. Even in those early years, Ronald wasn't just playing the saxophone, he was organizing, arranging, and envisioning something bigger. Ronald created, organized, produced, and performed some of the most popular songs in Kool and the Gang's catalog. He was a self-taught musician whose distinct sound could be heard on the group horn lines, bass, synthesizers, and vocals. By the early 70s, Kool and the Gang found their identity in hard-driving funk. He wrote and produced many of Kool and the Gang songs, including Celebration, that peaked #1 on the pop charts and #1 on the R&B charts, also peaking #1 on the dance charts.
Let's celebrate. There's a party going on right here.
Cherish, that peaked #2 on the pop charts and #1 on the R&B charts. Jungle Boogie, that peaked #4 on the pop charts and #2 on the R&B charts. Summer Madness, that peaked #35 on the pop charts and #36 on the R&B charts. Get Down on It, that peaked #10 on the pop charts and #4 on the R&B charts.
Get down on it. Get down on it. Well, how you gonna do it if you really
Hollywood Swingin', that peaked #6 on the pop charts and #1 on the R&B charts. And Open Sesame, that peaked #55 on the pop charts and #6 on the R&B charts, also peaking #13 on the dance charts, to mention a few. He's on record stating that his favorite song was Celebration, which he was inspired to write after reading the passages in the Quran. Ronald Bell's songwriting blended tight horns arrangements with streetwise grooves. The band's sound was raw, rhythmic, and irresistibly energetic. They wasn't just following trends, they was shaping the sound of funk itself. As musical taste shifted in the late 70s, many bands struggled. Ronald Bell saw a change not as a threat, but as an opportunity. He decided to bring in James J.T. Taylor, and that marked a turning point. The group embraced smoother melodies and crossover appeals without abandoning their core groove. The result? It was a new era of success, with hits like Ladies Night that peaked number 8 on the pop charts and number 1 on the R&B charts.
The feeling's right. Oh, this is ladies' night. Oh, what a night.
Too Hot that peaked number 5 on the pop charts and number 3 on the R&B charts.
So funny how those years go by. Change.
And Joanna that peaked number 2 on the pop charts and number 1 on the R&B charts, to mention a few.
I won't lie. She's my girl and always on my mind.
All of these songs made Kool and the Gang international icons. Ronald Bell co-wrote and produced many of these tracks, carefully constructed melodies that were simple enough to sing but strong enough to last for decades. Celebration in particular became more than a song. It became a universal soundtrack for weddings, graduations, and cultural milestones worldwide. Behind the upbeat energy was a spiritual man. Ronald Bell often spoke about faith, purpose, and positive messages in his music. He believed songs should uplift people and unite. He believed that philosophy shaped Kool and the Gang's evolution from gritty funk to global ambassadors of joy. The groove made you dance, but the intent made it meaningful. Bell joined the Nation of Islam in 1972. He was given the name Khalis Bayan, and if I mispronounced that, I truly apologize. Few bands survived multiple decades at the top of their craft. Kool and the Gang did, well in large part thanks to Ronald Bell's leadership and adaptability. The group earned Grammy Awards, American Music Awards, and an introduction into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Despite lineup changes and shifting musical landscapes, Bell kept the brand focused and relevant. Bell's songs have been sampled and celebrated all across hip-hop, pop, and R&B. Artists and producers continue to draw inspirations from his arrangements and songwriting structure. His grooves remain fundamental in party culture and global pop music. From block parties to arenas, his influence is everywhere. Bell was married and he had 10 children. He passed at his home in the United States Virgin Islands on September 9th, 2020 at the age of 68. When Bell passed away in 2020, tributes poured from the world. Music fans and industry leaders recognized his profound impact. He wasn't always the loudest voice in the room, but he was often the architect behind the sound everyone remembered. His music continues to bring people together across generations, cultures, and continents. Through funk grooves, smooth ballads, and anthems, he gave the world moments of joy that transcended time. He built more than hits. He built memories. Ronald Bell is the mastermind who turned rhythm into a global celebration. Now, before we go, I have a question for you all. What is your favorite song that Ronald Bell wrote? Before I go, I want to take a second to promote my Discord. Over here, I provide a safe space for my supporters. We discuss music of all genres. You can provide me feedback on recent uploads, etc. If that interests you, then go ahead and check me out. The link is in my bio. While I have y'all here, if you would like to support the channel further, then feel free to become a member. By doing so, you help make these videos possible. I thank each and every one of you who supported me along this journey.